Those communities just don't work. The Normans in European history. The Normans ruled England for a while, and as I understand it, the Normans were French or from the area of France, or I don't know. So now I've got a book on it. Samuel Johnson, a biography by John Wayne, W-A-I-N. I don't know enough about him. That is for damn sure. I do not know enough about Samuel Johnson. This was published in 1974. Second copy of The Enterprising Americans, A Business History of the United States. Very good read. Balzac, Droll Stories. I have a couple other, quite a bit of Balzac actually. The Black Sheep, and the Chowens. This is printed in 1939, and it's still in fantastic shape for a book that age, for $1. The Renaissance of the 12th Century by Haskins. I know the name Haskins, Charles Homer Haskins. Got some other books by him. This is published in 1928, and he says in the preface, "The title of this book will appear to many to contain a flagrant contradiction. A Renaissance in the 12th century? Do not the Middle Ages, that epoch of ignorance, stagnation, and gloom, stand in the sharpest contrast to the light and progress and freedom of the Italian Renaissance which followed? How could there be a Renaissance in the Middle Ages?" And he goes on. So, the Renaissance itself couldn't have been born without society trying to shake off the chains of the church and religion and sort of wake up and become more worldly. Aristotle never would have been accepted if they were still in the deepest slumber of religion of the Middle Ages. So, Sigmund Freud, Civilization and Its Discontents. I've been aimed to this book. People have recommended it to me as a necessary read if you want to be informed on Freud. But I don't need to read much more Freud. Someday I might, just because I like to torture myself. Next one, From Beowulf to Thomas Hardy, Volume 1, in 2 volumes. So this doesn't even go all the way up to Thomas Hardy. I opened this up and I saw John Donne, most of his material here. John Lilly, The Canterbury Tales by Chaucer, Beowulf, for $1. For $1, not bad. Alright, once in a while I see a book about Africa, and I usually scoff, laugh, and go on to the next. But this one, I kept seeing it, and I picked it up and looked into it, and it does have several chapters on pre-colonial Africa. It is a screed. It is a socialist, leftist, idiotic screed against America and imperialism and the West, and it's a screed, but it'll be a good read just for the information that comes in between the attacks on the West. I mean, they're just talking about like copper mining or something, and the sentence structure, they put in some attack on the West, always. It's terrible. So, and it's supposed to be a textbook for schools. This is an interesting, lovely tome here. Greece and Rome, Builders of Our World, tome. Should I say tome? But the National Geographic Society. Now, I don't know if I needed this. I've got a lot of books on Greece, and one's probably better to go online and get a documentary if one wants pretty pictures of Greece. But for $1, it's a nice book to be on the shelf anyway. Someone said, Mr. Cropper, why all the books? Books are going out. No, not for hundreds of years they won't. Not in my library. And they said it's a fire hazard having all those books around. Yeah. The Nightmare Years, 1930 to 1940 by William L. Shiver. He also wrote The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which I read in high school and was given an A just for having read it in my advanced placement U.S. government course. He said, anyone who reads William L. Shirer's Rise and Fall of the Third Reich gets an automatic A, except for you, Brandon. And I said, what? Why? And he said, because I know you'll read it. I protested, and so he said, all right, you too. And I was the only one who read it. Oh, okay. Jared Diamond, Collapse, How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. Now, I mistakenly said a few videos back that Mark Stein purchased a book by Jared Diamond, and the one I said he had purchased in the airport to read on the plane was Guns, Germs, and Steel. Actually, this is the one that he purchased, Collapse, because all these people are just going completely nuts about environmentalism, and we're all going to die and everybody's head's going to explode if we don't quit driving cars, and we're running out of oil and everything's so terrible. And Mark Stein thought, I'll get some information on that and quit, I'll be an armed citizen. And he said, fool on me, I wasted my money. Now I have that book at the cost of $1. I'm very surprised that the knuckleheads at Strand would put that out for $1. They would, I think, would highly value that book. Okay, this next one is an excellent book. Harvest of Sorrow. This was sold by the Ayn Rand bookstore for quite some time. Soviet Collectivization and the Terror Famine by Robert Conquest. There is a limerick by Conquest, or a poem at least, which Christopher Hitchens recites in one of his speeches. And I can't even recall what it is, and I thought it was in the cover of this book, but it's not. Anyways, this is going to be a good read. I've read so much about Russia that I can't say it's high on my list, but someday I might get to it. This next one, this is the last one I have in my newest rescued books series. I have this in soft cover, quality paperback they call it, large paperback. David McCullough, John Adams, or John Adams by David McCullough, I should say. And that copy is in Utah, but now I have a bigger, better copy in hardback here. There we go. That's my latest books. Remember, the first 10 or 12 are high on my list to read, and I will do videos on them if donations come in for that purpose.